question cards. The first one is, who are you? I'm William Louey. My great-grandfather started a family business called Counter Motorbus, and it's a transportation company, and we serve almost like 3 million people every day. And my interests are anything to do with creativity, design, fashion design, interior design, dancing, singing, painting, sculpture making, anything to do with creativity I'm interested in. The second card is, what is it like being part of a more than 100-year-old family business? Well, I certainly feel very proud. It's not a company that makes billions of dollars. I serve a lot of people every day, and about almost 3 million people I just mentioned. And I feel very proud that I can actually help these people to go to work, to go to school, and go to the market, etc. And the third question is, what's your family story? My family story went back to the late 1800s when my great-grandparents migrated to Australia. It took 4 months in those days, and they survived the trip. My grandmother was born in Sydney, and my grandfather was born in Melbourne. And then they returned to China in 1917, and then came to Hong Kong. And then my family started the business in 1921. So it's a over 100-year-old business. And the next question is, how often do you ride the bus? I rarely do ride the bus, but every time when there's a new model, I would go on it and make sure that it is comfortable for my passenger. But I don't use it on a daily basis. Tell us something interesting about buses. Well, buses are not very interesting, but the people who ride on the buses are interesting. So we have all walks of life coming to our passengers are very interesting, and some are very, like movie directors, the clubs that some of the fans of Counter Motorbus have created. The club is called Friends of KMB. And these people are very interesting because they can actually tell what bus model is driving past them with their eyes closed. What catches your eye? Well, anything beautiful and interesting will attract my eyes. So like movies, opera, creative things actually, art, anything creative will catch my eyes. And the next question is, what did your grandfather teach you? Well, my grandfather didn't teach me much because he passed away when I was 3. The person who taught me a lot was actually my grandmother. What did your grandmother teach you? My grandmother taught me to be generous. First of all, you don't count every little thing in life. You always, try and be the person who give a little more. Like, for example, 3 of us go on holiday together. Nothing is divisible by 3. So I would be the one who would pay that little extra. And then my grandmother taught me not to worry about that. It will get back, in the end, you will benefit. And also she taught me to be in the giving side of things. Like, she was very much into building old people's homes and helping the disabled children, building schools for disabled children. And I changed that idea to helping very bright scholars to study what they want to do, to do whatever they want to do at school and university. So I chose very bright people from China the first year, but later on I accept everybody from all over the world, and so they all ended up in Oxford, Cambridge, Harvard, MIT, all the top universities in the world. And the next question is, what is pay it forward? Well, my scholars are paying it forward because I told them from the first day that they never have to pay me back. And so they, I advised them to pay it forward. And pay it forward, I explained to them. There was a movie called Paying Forward. with Kevin Spacey, and I gave each of them, at that time it was DVDs, and they watched it, and then now they have a foundation called Pay It Forward Foundation, and now I have second generation scholars, and purely because they are sponsoring scholars themselves. What does your daily routine look like? Well, my daily routine is, I was actually taught to have not to have a daily routine. I go to bed at different times every day. I eat at different hours every day. And I eat when I'm hungry, and I go to sleep when I'm tired. So my daily routine is very unpredictable. So no kidnappers can keep track of me. Okay. And what's the best photo you've ever taken, and why? Well, the best photo that I've ever taken was actually for a very good friend who is an art dealer. And it was in the early 80s. And I took a picture of her, and then she liked it so much. And then ever since then, I've been doing all her publicity photos. And all of these photos are actually published in major media like Vogue and Prestige magazine in Hong Kong, Tatler, etc. How did your passion for photography start? Well, because I'm an only child, and my grandmother tried. Because my father passed away when I was very young, so I lived with my grandmother most of the time, and she bought me a camera, and ever since then it was a Canon camera. So I've been using Canon since I was 7 years old, and that's how the passion started. And I just killed a lot of films. Wasted a lot of money, and then eventually I got the hang of it. And my specialty is taking pictures of people. I only like taking pictures of faces. How did your father's early death impact you? Well, it was very traumatic because when he passed away, I was in the middle of doing my A-levels, and I was actually going to do medicine. But of course, when I came back to Hong Kong for 2 weeks for his funeral, I couldn't get the grade. So it turns out to be, I cannot become a doctor, but I'm now taking care of the family business, which I thoroughly enjoy. It was a big impact because my father and I were very close, and we played golf together. And when he came to London to buy buses, he stayed in the same room, and then he used to wake me up with his smoking, at 4 a.m. in the morning. But but it was happy memories. I used to complain to him. I said, "Dad, can you stop smoking? The whole room is filled with smoke." And literally, when somebody opens the door, it's like the room is on fire. He smoked that much. So that's why he passed away so young. What matters the most in life? Well, of course, happiness. Happiness is the most important, and if you're happy, you're healthy. If you're not happy, you cannot be healthy, okay? So you have to have a very healthy mentally and physically, and everything will come after that. And if you're healthy, you can do your business properly, and you can, if you have a personality, being happy among your friends will be happy, and it's the opposite of the vicious cycle. It just gets you happier and happier, and then you get healthier and healthier. Who inspires you most? So it depends on what stage in my life. You're asking this question. When I was young, those people who made a lot of money inspired me. But now, who inspires me are those people who can give and create happiness from that. So the person that I can think of is back to my grandmother again. So she inspired me, and then she made me do what I do now. So she's the one who inspired me the most. What is the best advice you have ever taken? The best advice is not to take it so seriously, not to count every penny, not to, think too much, not to overthink too much. there are a lot of things that you can't control. You should not think about them, because if you try and predict what's going to happen, it's only going to give you depression, and gives you anxiety. So, and mostly 90% these things won't happen anyway. So I tend not to predict things, and the best advice is nobody has a crystal ball, and just live your moment. What is the secret to eternal youth? What do you think? I look okay for my age at 65. The secret is, again, I was planning to write a book on anti-aging, and one of the chapters will be philanthropy, because when you are giving to very bright young scholars, you always encounter young, bright minds, and then it keeps you up to date and it keeps you curious, and that's how it keeps you young internally. The philanthropy gives you happiness internally, but externally you have to look young, because no matter what you do, you eat right, you sleep enough, and then you exercise, but no one can defy gravity. So plastic surgery is very important to keep young, and I've done tons, but the secret is to do it naturally, so nobody can tell. If you can tell that somebody has done something, you've already failed. So it's best to, because I'm creative, so I know how to draw, and I know how to draw portraits, and I've been studying Michelangelo and Leonardo da Vinci's facial anatomy since I was 7 years old, since my grandmother bought me the camera. Well, the advice to give a younger person is, don't always think of the reward. You have to do something for long term, gain experience, and there's no fast track in life. You have to work hard, get experience, be passionate in what you do. Passion is the most important thing in life. If you're not passionate, you will not do anything well. Are you optimistic or pessimistic about the world? Well, as I said, I don't want to predict anything. I'm naturally a very optimistic person, so I can control things around me, and I'm just a happy person. Don't think about anything negative, because those are the things that will wear you down, and then you cannot inspire others. What were you like at school? Well, I was really bad at school. My teachers thought I was very lazy and naughty, but I was only diagnosed as ADHD when I was in my mid-40s. I didn't know I was ADHD, so I didn't know why I was different. But I was able to get through school. I was a mediocre student, but I think ADHD is actually a positive thing, because people are usually more creative, and I think out of the box. So I wasn't a very good student. But when I go back to my school, because I sent a lot of my scholars to to my old boarding school, Millfield School, and some of the teachers who taught me are still there, teaching my scholars. They're very old now, and then they really didn't expect me to be able to contribute like this. So again, don't speculate, don't predict. Can a dyslexic write a book? Yes, of course. With ChatGPT, everybody can write a book. And I'm going to write a book on anti-aging, and it's going to be, of course, I have to write it myself, and then of course I have to ask AI to help me as well. But then, obviously, it's all my ideas, and a dyslexic person can write a book. Why did you start on Educational Foundation? Well, because my grandmother helped thousands of elderlies and thousands of disabled children, and because I am as I just mentioned, that I'm ADHD and dyslexic, and I can't really concentrate very well. So I just wanted to help a few bright scholars, and that's how I started the Educational Foundation. And I also wanted to do something different from what my grandmother did. So everybody should be helping, you know, what you're passionate about. Like my wife, she's passionate about helping people who are good at sports. And my son, you know, who is passionate about helping people who are good at biotech. So everybody has a, you know, has a passion. I'm passionate about people who are academic and they're all-rounders and they can contribute. Who do you admire most in Hong Kong? The first person that comes to my mind is my sister-in-law, and she's a very amazing businesswoman and makes very good decisions, and admire her very much. Because I tend to admire people who can do things that I cannot do myself, you know, like her. And yeah. How do you rate the success of other Hong Kong philanthropists? I can't I don't really want to rate them, because a lot of them are my friends, and we support each other. You know, everybody's doing their bit. You know, any philanthropist is a good thing for the society. I think giving is very, very good, and I think to give. What is a true philanthropist? And I also learned that from my grandmother, because she did a lot of things that people didn't know about. I only found out in her funeral that people came up to thank me for what she did. And so a lot of things that she did during her lifetime, I probably only know maybe 10% of it. And then the 90% I discovered in her funeral. This is the last question. How can we make the world better? Well, I think you just do your own part, and not to worry too much about all the negative things around you. I mean, you just, you know, do the bits that you can control, and try and make good, and be generous and help people. I think if everybody thinks like that, then, you know, the world will be a better place. So these are all the questions.